In this video, we're going to look at cycloalkenes, and we're going to look at some examples of naming cycloalkenes and drawing cycloalkenes. So first, we're going to start with a naming example. So we'll start by looking at our parent chain. Now this parent chain is going to be our cyclo molecule, so our cyclic ring, with that double bond. So our parent chain, if we name it, is cyclohexene. Now when we're naming our parent chain for a cycloalkene, you'll notice we don't put a location marker for the double bond. This is because the double bond is between carbons 1 and 2 always. So we know that in this diagram, carbon 1 will either be the top carbon of the double bond or the bottom carbon of the double bond. We're going to look at our functional groups before we assign any numbers. So we have two functional groups. We have this ethyl branch and we have this methyl branch. So there's two ways that we can number our carbon, or our carbons within our ring. So the first way is going to be starting at the top carbon and then moving counterclockwise around the ring. In this case, so with our purple numbers, we have a total sum of 3 plus 5 equals 8. Another option we could have is starting at the bottom carbon of our double bond and then rotating clockwise. So these orange numbers that I'm drawing now. And with our orange numbers, the sum of our locations is 4 plus 6 equals 10. So the same as we did with cycloalkenes, we're going to take the smaller of the two sums. So in this case, that's our purple numbers. So we're going to go with that. Number 1 is the top carbon of the double bond and then rotating counterclockwise. Now we're going to list our groups in alphabetical order with their numbers. So we're using the purple numbering system, so we will have 5 ethyl, 3 methyl, cyclohexene. We're going to start a second example now. We have a different parent chain in this case. So our parent chain is this cyclopentene ring. So 5 carbons with the double bond. Again, we don't need to put a number location. Either this will be carbon 1 or this will be carbon 1. We have two groups. We have an ethyl group and a methyl group. So we're going to look at our numbering again and see what makes the most sense. So our two options are to start number 1 at this carbon and then rotate counterclockwise. And then option 2 is going to be to start number 1 at this carbon and rotate clockwise. Now, if we look at our two sums, so with the purple numbering, the sums of our functional groups, our branches, are 2 plus 3 equals 5. If we use the orange numbering, the sums of our functional groups or branches are 1 plus 5 equals 6. And so once again, we're going to go with that purple numbering system there. And we're going to list our groups in alphabetical order. So we will have 3-ethyl, 2-methyl, cyclopentene. We're going to look at going the opposite way now, so starting with a name and drawing the structure. And we're going to do this the same as we did the cycloalkenes. So we'll start with our parent, cyclohexene. And so I'm going to draw a 6-carbon ring, so hexagon. And it doesn't really matter where I put the double bond. I'm going to put it down the right side. And I know that these 2 carbons will be 1 and 2. And I'm going to just put a little dot where I'm going to make carbon 1. So that blue dot is going to represent carbon 1. So now I'm going to look at my functional group. So I have 3-ethyl. So if this is carbon 1 and this is carbon 2, carbon 3 is at the bottom of the molecule. And so I'm going to draw my ethyl group there. And then I have 2-methyl. And so once again, 1 is represented by the blue dot and 2 is going to be this other carbon in the double bond. So I'll draw a methyl group off of that. We'll do one more example where we start with the name and draw the structure. So again, we start with our parent. In this case, cyclobutene is going to be a square. And again, it doesn't matter where we put that double bond. So I'll put it at the top this time. And so I know in my diagram that my carbon 1 and carbon 2 are part of that double bond. So just for keeping track, I'm going to put a little blue dot at carbon 1. So now I'm going to add my functional groups. So I have 4-ethyl. So if this is carbon 1 and 2, 3, 4 will be down in the lower left corner. So my ethyl group is down that way. And then 1-methyl. So I have already put my little blue dot where I've indicated is carbon 1. And so I'm going to draw a methyl group out of that carbon.